This is Inspiring Careers with your host, Ingrid Centurion. We're going to talk about fascinating technologies that will impact your future. Meet inspiring entrepreneurs and people that are making huge differences in the community and around the world. We're going to share career and life lessons of inspiration and success. Our mission is to inspire our viewers to make a better life for themselves by sharing our stories, our interviews, and documentaries. Please stay tuned as we have incredible guests coming up. Today we're going in the field and we're speaking to Dave Doucette. He's going to tell us about a solar panel project he's been working on for 5 years in Marlboro. He's also going to give us a report on his Rad City bike. We're also going to listen to a report from the electricbike.com and hear about the 5 best bicycles in the world by GoCycle. First time he ran for office was in 2015. Dave Doucette, City Councilor of Ward 2, Marlboro. He loves the opportunity to serve the people in the community, and he's very into the environment and solar panels. Dave has an engineering degree and an MBA, and he self-published a few multimedia reports. Thanks for being on the show with us today, and thanks for all you do in the community.
This is a current entrance to the landfill. There were some previous sports complexes here shut down a couple of years ago. At this point, the city's not necessarily sure how much of this is going to be put into solar panels. There may be a combination of a sports field and solar panels, but right now it's really just the beginning of the process, and we'll see what happens over the next probably 12 to 18 months. So.
And tell me, when did you start this project?
Well, I've been proposing it for probably at least 4 years. Originally, it was going to be an entire sports field complex. It was one of the first votes that I had on the city council. I was actually regretting that vote when I was there because I'm not sure if sports field belong on top of landfills. So the more I looked into it, the more I was kind of concerned with that. But solar panels would come in handy too. So every time something would come up about the property, because the landfill had to be restored. It was basically in disrepair. So they had to kind of refurbish the landfill. And whenever that came up to the city council, I would say, you know, it'd be a good place for solar panels. A couple of other councilors started to agree with me, and then we got a proposal in the last couple of months to actually put solar on it. So that's where things are now.
Once the solar panels are in there, how much energy will that provide?
Well, it's tough to say right now, but it could be up to 6 megawatts. So that's how much the landfill could. That's how much space the landfill could be covered. Depends on how much would actually be converted to solar panels and what grade of solar panels they're being put in. Behind me is the old landfill on Bolton Street. We're at the top of the hill. Underneath us, at the bottom of the hill, is actually Route 85. Behind us, the water you see is Crane Meadow Reservoir. We're planning to put solar panels, or at least the city is going to approve putting solar panels on this landfill. This is an effort that I've been trying to promote for probably about 5 years, almost since I started at the city council. And I'm looking to see that we're finally getting progress on this and getting the approval process through the city to allow a company to come in and install solar panels. So stay tuned. Where the process is right now is that a proposal has come to the city council to basically rezone this property to be solar panels. This is the second time that a property has been proposed to the city to be rezoned for freestanding solar panels. The first time was in Ward 2. At a property that is near Callahan State Park, near Parmenter Street and Broad Meadow. That project fell through, but the framework for that rezoning principle has been reapplied to this property here, which is owned by the city, and we would basically lease it out for the term to actually put up solar panels. Street all the way down to Route 85. So this whole area is eligible for solar panels. As far as how much of it actually gets converted to solar panels is to be
What else could this land be used for?
Well, the problem was it's a capped landfill that was originally capped, I think, in the 80s. It was not necessarily maintained well. About 5 years ago, they were thinking of putting a sports field on this. There's some areas that seem to be pretty open and flat. And when they started to look into it, they found that they had to put a lot of work into recapping the landfill. And that's when I started bringing up issues that it'd probably make more sense to do solar versus sports field. I mean, the city needs sports fields, but I'm not comfortable with having sports fields on top of landfills. The question is, how is that going to affect the kids playing on the sports fields 10 or 20 years down the road? You know, does that cause, there's cases of having cancer come from people who were playing on sports field as a kid. So,
Have studies been done on the lands and data for people who live in this area that may have a lot of cancer or something like that?
Well, there's not that many people that live adjacent to this property, so it's not that there's no worries from that side. You know, as far as the landfill itself is in good shape. Like I said, the capping has been completed. A new cap has been put in place. And basically the city would be making some money if we actually allow solar panels to come in. So I think there's a profitability to this that is finally being recognized. So. This is my electric bike. I picked it up last March. The company is called Rad Bikes out of Seattle. I did some analysis as far as what was available, and I felt that this was the best bang for the buck, shall we say. The large container is the battery that's and the smaller one is the actual electronics. The motor is actually in the rear wheel. This one does degenerative braking. It has 7 speeds, so I can shift through it, and there's 5 levels of pedal assist. So this is the electronics here, and this is the battery. From the battery, I can get 20 to 40 mile range, and then also I can get it charged in about 4 to 6 hours.
How much does a bike like this cost?
This bike stripped was $1,500. With the options that I got, it was closer to 19 because the basket and the frame, and I have an extra suspension support for the seat. You know, a couple of accessories cost a little extra, but I wanted to get them.
So the accessories are the basket?
The basket, the frame for the basket, the post, the lock I have a lock for the bike, which is designed for the bike. I basically put it in like this, you know, and that's locked, and then if I want to unlock it, that's it. This type of lock is very popular in Europe. E-bikes have been very popular in Europe for years. They're starting to become much more popular in the United States. This company is actually out-ramping production. I've heard rumors that they're selling 10 times as many bikes this year as they did last year. Okay, we're on the Marlboro bicycle trail now. This trail starts in downtown Marlboro and actually goes all the way to downtown Hudson, through downtown Hudson. I forget what the total length is. There's also a couple of other pedestrian trails, something called the Panther Trail, which is there's a Boroughs Trail, which covers all the boroughs, Northborough, Southborough, and Marlboro. And then also there's, I forget, the Bay Loop Trail, which goes through Marlboro and actually starts on the South Shore and goes to the North Shore. And part of it also comes through Marlboro. So there's quite a few active trails that
Trail,
I think that's part of some of these trails, like the loop, the Bay Trail. The idea was kind of connect it all together, so you could travel basically from the South Shore to the North Shore around Boston. It's a huge trail, but so there's quite a few pedestrian walking trails in the city.
This is the Rad Power Bikes Rad City Step Through Generation 3 in for testing and review. So this is the third generation of this model, and Rad Power Bikes has added some upgrades to it that we'll get into in the details here. Has that classic step-through design that makes it very easy to get on and off the bike. The 48-volt, 14-amp-hour lithium battery with Samsung cells. Shengyi 750-watt direct drive rear hub motor with regenerative braking. Shimano 7-speed Acera drivetrain, the integrated rear rack that's welded right to the frame, along with a bunch of other stock accessories. Generally a pretty upright and comfortable ride position, the Suntour 80mm suspension fork, and all this is priced at $14.99, including free shipping. So this is a video overview, and I'll have a full review for you at electricbikereport.com, and there's a link to that in the notes for this video. But with that, let's get into the details. So first of all, let's take a look at the Hydroform aluminum frame. Here at the head tube, there is the Rad Power Bikes head badge there. The 4-bolt connection for a front cargo rack, and the rack can support cargo on the platform itself, as well as bags and baskets that can be added to the rack. The head tube area here has a nice sturdy gusset connection of the down tube to the head tube. And that just provides a nice bit of reinforcing to a pretty high stress area here. And just below there, there's internal cable routing that protects the cables and provides a nice clean look. And just behind the head tube area on the down tube, there's 2 bolts here for a water bottle cage or a lock holder attachment that can be added. Then the down tube swoops down to the low step through area. It's about 17 inches from the ground to the step through, and this is also where the battery is located, which is a nice position. It's very low and centered on the bike, and that's good for the balance and overall handling. And taking a closer look here, you can see how the frame kind of wraps around the battery. And you know, some step through frames can be a little bit flexible, but the Rad City feels very sturdy. So nice job connecting the down tube to the seat tube here. And the wraparound kind of creates a little bit of a cage, a little protection for the battery as well. And then just behind the battery is the controller for the e-bike system. Then taking a look here at the seat post quick release, you can open that and vary the seat height pretty quickly, so you can really fine tune it to your riding style. And then another detail, this is a bolted connection here for a wheel lock, and Rad Power Bikes sells a ABUS wheel lock that basically extends a bar through the rear wheel to prevent it from moving. And it's a really nice lock for just quick errands into a store. It's just a really handy way to basically disable the bike temporarily. And then the rear rack is welded right to the frame, and it can support up to 45 pounds of cargo. There's bolt connections here on the top for attaching a kid seat. There's a lot of other bags and basket options that Rad Power Bikes sells as well. And then taking a look down here, this is the lower attachment point for some of those bags and baskets. The derailleur cage to help protect that Shimano Acera rear derailleur. A neoprene cover here for the chainstay to help protect it, as well as provide a little quieter ride if the chain were to be bouncing around. But overall, some nice detailing on the Rad City frame. So one of the highlights of the Rad Power Bikes is the use of a high-capacity 48-volt, 14-amp-hour lithium battery with Samsung cells. This is 672 watt-hours of capacity. There's the lock here at the top, so you can unlock the battery and remove it from the bike if you want. Then there's the battery level indicator, so you push the white button and it shows you how much of a charge you have. There's also a battery level indicator on the display on the handlebars as well. So here's a demonstration of the battery pack removal. So unlock it with one of the supplied keys, and then pull up on the pack, and it lifts off the frame just like that. There's a look at the frame attachment, and to reinstall, basically the same in reverse, just line it up there at the bottom, slide it into place, rotate the key, and just double check and make sure it's fully locked in there. So here's a look at the battery charger plugged into the battery when it's been removed from the bike. The battery can also be charged on the bike too. And full charge time is about 5 to 6 hours from empty. Okay, so we'll take a look at the drive system now. First of all, there's the aluminum Welgo platform pedals. These have a nice grip on both sides, as well as reflectors front and rear. Then there's the 46 tooth chainring that has double chainring guards to help keep the chain on the chainring and to provide a little bit of pant leg protection. Then that drives back to the 7-speed 11 to 34 tooth cog set back here, and the Shimano Acera rear derailleur shifts through that, and it has that derailleur guard there. And right here, this is the Shangyi 750 watt direct drive rear hub motor, and this is a really smooth and quiet motor. Definitely a highlight for the ride characteristics. It also features regenerative braking, so as you engage the brake levers, it recoups some of the energy to recharge the battery. The motor provides up to 20 miles per hour of pedal assist, and there's also the throttle assist as well, up to 20 miles per hour. So this is a Class 2 electric bike. So a Suntour suspension fork helps to smooth out the ride, has 80 millimeters of travel, which is just over 3 inches, and it has a nice lively and active feel. Does a good job of absorbing a lot of the bumps and cracks in the road. There's a lockout dial here, so if you're riding on pretty smooth roads, you can lock out the suspension so it doesn't move, and gives you a little more efficient ride feel on smoother roads. And then it's just quick to unlock it by turning the dial like that. And then over here, this is the preload dial, so you can set the spring rate of the fork to fit your weight and riding style. So these are the Kenda K-Rad tires that are found on the front and back of the Rad City step-through. They're a pretty much like an on and off-road tread pattern, pretty smooth center tread for efficient riding, but some nice knobs for riding off-road. They're 26 inch by 2.3 inch wide, and they've got a puncture-resistant casing and reflective striping on both sides for help with being seen when you're out and about. This is the Tektro Aries mechanical disc brake with a 180 millimeter rotor on the front of the bike, and basically the same on the back here. And there's also the regenerative braking from the Shangyi direct drive rear hub motor there. But the Tektro mechanical disc brakes do a good job of slowing down the Rad City with a nice bit of power and modulation. So taking a look at the ride position, generally it's pretty upright and comfortable. Has these swept-back handlebars that are sort of like a beach cruiser style. And then there's the adjustable stem, so you can vary the location of the handlebars. It can be very upright and close to you, or further down and a little bit further out. So a lot of variability. There's also variability of the stem on the steer tube as well. So, but yeah, in general, just upright and comfortable. There's also the low step-through area, makes it easy to get on and off the bike, and generally comfortable seat position as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the handlebar area. First of all, on the left side is a faux leather ergonomic grip. Has a little bit of a wing here for wrist support. And then there's the Tektro mechanical disc brake levers, and these have a rubber grippy surface here on both brake levers. There's the integrated bell built into the front brake lever. The control pad with the up and down arrows, generally cycling through the pedal assist levels. The mode button is the on-off button, as well as cycling through info on the display. And here's a look at the display. You've got your battery level. This is currently set to trip distance, current speed, pedal assist level, and watts is the power that the motor is providing. So by using the up and down arrows, I'm going down the pedal assist level on the lower left there, and then back up to 5, which is the highest pedal assist level. And then hitting the mode button in the upper right, you can see there's the odometer and then trip distance. And then holding the up arrow, there's the average speed, and then holding it again, there's the max speed. So a lot of good info there on the display. There's also a USB charge port under here for charging a smartphone or other device when you're out and about. And then over here, this is the Shimano 7-speed shifter. You can shift up the cog set by pushing that lever, and then shift down by pushing that button. There's the twist grip throttle here that provides boost to the lower pedal assist levels, or it can be used on its own as pure throttle if you want without pedaling. The rear Tektro brake lever and the faux leather ergonomic grip there. So the Velo Plush saddle has a sort of a medium width profile to it with a bit of center relief for a comfortable ride. And a nice feature on the back, there's a handle, so it helps with picking the bike up or maneuvering it around. So rounding out the Rad City step-through is a nice full accessory package. There's the front LED headlight here that runs off of the e-bike battery, the front fender with mud flap, And similarly back here, a rear fender, the integrated rack that's welded right to the frame. Lots of accessory options there. And the tail light here that has the solid function as well as a flashing function. And there's also a brake light feature, so when you grab the brakes, it lights up similar to a car brake light. And there's the bell built into the front brake lever. And there's a kickstand that's mounted to the back right side of the frame, and the length is adjustable so you can set the angle of the bike when it's parked. Okay, so that's the overview of the Rad Power Bikes Rad City Step Through. Make sure you check out the full review at electricbikereport.com. There's a link to that in the notes for this video. That includes a bunch of detailed pictures, specifications, ride characteristics, range test results, pros, cons, and overall thoughts, all at electricbikereport.com.
GoCycle GX. This is the ideal bike for smart urban riding and inner city living. It's fast folding. It folds in about 10 seconds. It's very light and very balanced. It's really, really nimble, weaving through traffic. Very, very maneuverable when it's folded. So if you want to lift it upstairs into your flat or into your office or into the back of an Uber, even to get it on the tube. But to be honest, you'd probably rather ride it than take the tube because it's such a nice bike to ride. Another great point about this bike is that it's universally sized. So it can hold anyone from 4'11" to 6'6". You can share the bike in your household with your partner, with mates, and you can just easily adjust the saddle height. The other main touch points are the boost button you have on this bike. You can press and hold this boost button to give you 100% assistance for hills, or if you just really don't feel like doing any exercise, you can just really press that and zoom to your destination. Priced at £2,899, GoCycle is a premium price, but there are lots of incentives to buy, such as cycle to work schemes, 0% finance, tax benefits for buying through businesses and all sorts. Okay, on to the next bike. Okay, so bike number 2 is the Super 73 S2. You probably know all about this bike. If you don't, Google it. You will find a wealth of awesome people who have this bike. Cara Delevingne, Jack Black, Will Smith, the YouTube gang, you name it, they've got it. This bike is great for city exploring, pointing and squirting in the city if you like. It is not limited to just the road, thanks to these meaty tyres. They eat up potholes, you can go on canal paths, you can cut through parks. The battery is absolutely monstrous. It's 960 watts, which means that you probably only need to charge it once or twice a week. So the motor on the S2 is pretty beastly. It will get you up to 15.5 miles an hour like that. If you are fortunate enough to have some private land, you can de-restrict the bike to go 28 miles per hour through the app. Just to round it off, the Super 73 S2 comes in at £3,300. On to the next. All right, on to bike number 3. This is the Moustache Samidi 27 X Road 1. It's priced at £2,399, which is entry-level price point. It's really good to get into the whole activity of e-biking. Bit of a crossbreed bike, so you can commute in the week and you can explore on the weekend. Got a sporty yet comfortable position, and it's got these big chunky tyres which are really versatile. The great thing about the Moustaches is they use the Bosch electric bike system. Probably the best system on the market in terms of the power delivery, the range, the intuitiveness. So to sum it up, if you want the bike that can do it all, that's a jack of all trades, then this is the one for you. Next. All right, bike number 4 is the Reese & Muller Tinker Vario. This is one of the more expensive bikes at $3,779, but with very good reason. Firstly, it's got this combination of Enviola hub and belt drive. This just results in a really smooth ride, next to no maintenance, and also super quiet. You have this rear rack, which can carry 25 kilos, so you can carry all sorts on there. You've got the Bosch setup, so you've got the Bosch performance motor, which is super powerful. You've got the 500 watt-hour battery, which means it gives you a massive range. You also get this combo of suspension seat post and suspension in the front, so it's super smooth. You have this very powerful supernova light. You've got this adjustable stem, which you can just adjust for your ideal riding position and also store very narrow. All of this just results in one of the smoothest, best rides that we have in this store. You really need to try it to believe it. So if you're looking for a inner city bike that's fast, nimble, can store easily, can carry a lot, then this could be the one for you. Next. All right, bike number 5 is the Designio SP Urban. This is the e-bike that doesn't look like an e-bike. It's incredibly beautiful, incredibly light at just 13.9 kilos, integrates its battery beautifully into the down tube. You have a motor hidden into the back wheel in combination with this carbon belt. So it's next to no maintenance. So the pricing starts at £3,409, but the pricing can vary hugely because these bikes are highly customizable. Each bike is handcrafted in Spain and takes about 50 hours to build each bike. So you can go into a multitude of options, colors, spec levels, and you can really go to town on making this bike perfect for you. If you want something that's timeless in design, rides incredibly smoothly, and it's just one of the most high-end, lightweight bikes on the market.
I'm Ingrid Centurion, and this is Centurion's Arena. Just like the ancient Romans who battled in the sandpit using swords, spears, and all types of weapons to entertain the people. In my arena, we're gonna battle it out with facts, perspectives, and real-world stories. Let the people decide. Get ready for an amazing and entertaining show. Today we have two amazing people who are gonna share their perspectives on why America is so important. And so many Americans may take the freedoms we enjoy for granted. We have Sophie Underwood and Anton Teodescoro.
I was either lucky or unlucky enough to grow up in Romania, in a communist country under Ceausescu, who was for many people who today may not have heard of him, he was kind of next to Stalin and Mao Zedong, kind of their third one in the triad. And I was lucky enough to get to this country because I had a brother who actually did the hard work for me. And he ended up crawling across the border from Yugoslavia into Italy, literally across barbed wire and guns and people and all the system set up to keep you inside the country, not to let you, to keep you outside.